Hello there, I'm Colleen.
I'm Anders.
And I'm Daniel.
We're three nerds that met through our love of science fiction and fantasy storytelling. Of course, one of our favorites is George Lucas's signature achievement, Star Wars.
And if there's one thing the internet definitely doesn't have enough of, it's nerds talking about Star Wars. So here we are with yet another Star Wars podcast, where each week we discuss one of the films in the current Star Wars canon.
From the sands of Tatooine to the levels of Coruscant, we cover it all. Yet another Star Wars podcast is available wherever you get your podcast and is part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hello, and welcome to Recent Activity, your new favorite entertainment review podcast that attempts to cover every film, every show, all at once. I am your co-host, Andrew Morgan. With me, as always, are the Knights of the High Table, ready to go with pistols at dawn. It's Shane Beauregard.
What's up?
And Chris Frodell.
Hit me.
Because Cut Me was already taken from when we were doing Creed. Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Shoot Me? Yeah. I do love, we just to, this is not a video podcast, but we are recording video in front of each other. We also find it very funny that I never change my name on here. I always go with just Andrew Morgan. And Shane never changes his name. It's always Chris doing the funny name, which he has a great one. He has henchman number 44 listed for tonight. And then Shane and I both sign on with Baba Yaga, which is absolutely perfect. And it shows how much enthusiasm we have for this, which I'm just catching up to you guys. I will admit from the jump that before John Wick 4 came out, I had to play a little catch-up because I had only seen the first John Wick and I had not seen part 2 and 3. Shout out to Peacock for letting me watch 2 and 3 before I saw 4. But I have now strong opinions about the franchise because I'm fully caught up. If anything, I'm just super mad at myself that I was not able to or didn't see the second or third one in the theaters. And I'm sure you guys can also relay those feelings or feel empathize with that a little bit, especially you, Shane, which we've constantly been saying, with this crazy franchise streak we have on, a lot of action movies, a lot of genre fare, that this is still, the winter of Shane, or, now heading into the spring of Shane, with John Wick now being in the fold. So help us out, Shane. What do you love about this John Wick series, and why were you so pumped for part 4?
Well, first of all, this is the first episode I'm doing pantless. I'm doing a pantless review right now. It's just too bad you guys can't see it.
You should just do chaps.
I can stand up if you want, though. I can stand up if you want.
No. Sit.
No, what's not to like about this series? Like, some of the best fight choreography, scenery, plus Keanu Reeves. Like, for me, the first one up until this one was the best of the franchise. 2, I had a little issue with Ruby Rose as being the main villain in the second one. 3rd kind of jumped the shark once he fell off and took like 5 careening shots off the building.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I was like, okay. But this one, man, 3 hours? What was it? 2 hours and 50 minutes?
Something close to that, yeah.
Not long enough. Long enough. I could have watched 5 hours of this stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love the additions of Donnie Yen as Kane.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into what I didn't like, but I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Hiroyuki
Sanada. Yeah.
Sanada. Well, I love him. Like, we saw him. When did we last see him? In Bullet Train, right?
Yeah. Which, ironically, he played the Elder, which is a different name of a character in here, so that's funny.
Yeah. But it's just the action scenes. It's the Chad S. as we talked off mic.
Stahelski.
Knows how to direct fight scenes. And again, it's the set pieces. It's just everything in this franchise. It is probably, honestly, the best action franchise, period, end of story.
Yeah. I mean, he is... Yeah. Chad Stahelski has been around forever being, stuntman and, fight coordinators for some of the biggest action movies forever. And John Wick was, he didn't even direct fully the first movie. He co-directed that one, and now he's taken full aim on this and really coming into his own as a director. I mean, 4 movies in his own franchise to start out the gate of your career is impressive. And I think this movie, not to get too far ahead, I think he's getting better with his direction as it goes. And this one was just like unreal. And I know he has a new editor on this film too, which ironically to applaud the editing of a film that's almost 3 hours feels weird to say. When the rest, what was the longest one before that? 2:10. So it's amazing that they did a much better job. Things were so tight. The stories were compact. I don't know how they added so many characters, and I cared about basically all of them in some regard, that I had some real strong feelings of all of them. But I agree, Shane, like this one, adding Donnie Yen, adding Hiroyuki Sanada, Shamir Anderson, who I said to Chris off mic, was in three not so good Netflix movies that he toiled in obscurity and then finally gets his chance to be Mr. Nobody here. Clancy Brown. We'll get into all of that. But Chris, give me the lowdown of where you felt this series was coming into part 4.
Oh, I think I am in agreement with you guys saying that it, as Shane said, best series of films, action films.
Yeah.
Because, you can give us Expendables. You can give us, all these other franchises or attempts at being franchises.
Yeah.
And they fall short in some way.
Yeah.
This one, even though they weren't solid 3 great films, there was something to love out of all 3 of them at the time.
Yeah.
Until now. And I was saying it was like probably, I know I said this about something before, but this is like one of the best trilogies.
Yeah.
Is that, when it was a trilogy, it felt like beginning, middle, end.
Right.
End question mark. And then obviously they give you a 4th. But just the action set pieces, like you said, Andrew, it's just, they're all imaginative and they're engaging, and you're caring about each one of these characters in some way or form.
Yeah.
You may, really hate one character, but you'll also feel for someone who's on the receiving end of a beatdown or an attack.
Right.
But, what other franchise can you say you feel that way?
Yeah.
And I can't think of one right now.
Yeah, not many franchises. I struggle to think of like almost one-man mission type things that aren't like related to like spy thrillers in a way. Like, so, throw out your Mission Impossibles, throw out your Bournes, things like that. This is the first one that in a while, at least, if I'm not remembering, or at least not taken from another, Asian property or something like the Killer series or something that I know this is heavily influenced by. These type of movies don't really come around, especially in America. And it's outrageous to see, especially when Keanu is in his 50s, mid 50s, I think now, or something?
Late 50s. He's 58, 59.
Oh, that's crazy. I for some reason I thought he was like 54. God, that guy doesn't age. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And especially to do a lot of that work, is impressive. Like it's just like I respect it so much. It's so weird when we deal with like, the Liam Neesons of the world and Bruce Willis aging out and things like that. It's good to see like a certain crop pop up, and then this might be the elite of the elite. What I wanted to kind of go through first before we get to how well it's doing and everything else, for me, watching the franchise, I'm an outlier that I think 2 is a little better than 1. And my reasoning for that is the way I see the franchise going was 1 was just a straight revenge thing. You killed my dog, you woke the beast, and now I'm just going to run roughshod through anyone who's in my way. Don't mess with my car. The basic stuff that, is made fun of a little bit as the series goes on, which is nice. There's a levity to it. But part 2, what I liked, I agree with you, Shane, that the Ruby Rose thing is just like window dressing. It's odd, but at least there was a central figure that was like kind of the puppeteer of it. So there was like a through line to one guy that he knows he need to get through, and then add these little side characters like the fight with Common, the fight with Ruby Rose, the fight with certain characters that kind of boss leveled it as it went through. The third movie, I agree, it kind of gets off the rails a little bit and really tries to amplify stuff with the high table and all these other things that you need. It basically, again, like whether you want to say the third one walks or the third one stumbles, so part 4 can, really fly. However you want to put it, I think it was necessary, but it is clearly the worst of the franchise. And as we mentioned here, even their worst efforts are insanely watchable, and parts are just like, either the whole movie's an insane rewatchability, or at least at worst, if you take part 3 and you just took clips, you'd be like, damn, this movie's so good. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of those efforts. And what I love about part 4, if we're going to start a little bit, is that I think it took all the lessons that it took from all 3 that came before it and just ran with it. Like just completely took off, and I think it's the best effort so far. So we'll go with that as the launching point. But yes, we talked about casting. Keanu Reeves is back. Ian McShane is back. Lawrence Fishburne is back. R.I.P. to Lance Reddick. They even weird timing of all of that, right? Because Lance Reddick gets his kind of send off in the movie, in the credits, and obviously passed away in real life. Real shame, because I love him in this series. Excellent additions, as Shane already mentioned. Donnie Yen, Hiroyuki Sanada as Shimazu, Bill Skarsgård as the Marquis. We'll get to that as like probably the best villain that they've had thus far, and then adding the layers of his villainy, and his team to go with it. Shamir Anderson is Mr. Nobody, aka the Tracker. Clancy Brown is the Harbinger. Rina Sawayama as Akira. She's apparently a big singer overseas that I didn't know, and now she's getting into the acting and thing, and she might have a larger role going forward. We don't know. For anyone who's stuck around for the extra credit scene. And by the way, if you're here in listening to a podcast about the 4th installment of a series of movies, and you don't think we're going to spoil it from the get, you're an idiot. So I love you. Thank you for coming in, especially to this podcast. But let's get it together. Let's understand each other that we're here to celebrate the John Wick series, and we're here to absolutely run roughshod through this 3-hour epic that I hope we all enjoyed. Current scores. I
was going to say, we apologize to first-time listeners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's good when your host calls you out. So, the scores are impressive. Absolutely impressive. I didn't believe it when the early scores were so impressive, because I've seen some early scores on some movies that we really didn't like too much get pretty good early scores. But this one, they all held 95% Rotten Tomato score with a 95% Rotten Tomato audience score as well. 78 Metascore, which for an action movie is almost unheard of. 8.5 IMDb and a 4.2 on Letterboxd. Huge numbers, like easily top notch. Probably the best scores I've seen all year. That maybe wasn't, especially from a festival, some potential Oscar bait for later in the year. So this is impressive, and we're seeing in this chapter 4 of John Wick, we're seeing John Wick uncovering a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. This movie made a shit ton of money, which is insane because when I went Sunday night, it didn't feel that packed, but still, 137.5 million over the weekend, 73.5 of that domestically in the U.S. Each John Wick film has had a better opening than the last, and this one had the biggest, obviously, thus far. Nobody is scared of that longer running time. So we'll start with Shane because, again, this is the month of Shane to go into more specifics.
Do you want me to stand up now? No? Okay.
No.
I'll stay seated.
No.
Okay.
I don't know how I could turn your video off if that would happen, but if I could, I'd be, oh yeah, man, go for it.
Yeah.
Well, let's go, buddy. Let's let's do this now. John Wick is back in your life. How happy are you, sir?
I couldn't be happier, man. Like, it's funny because I took no notes when I saw this movie because I just wanted to embrace it all and just let it all run over me. And it was oh so good.
Yeah.
It was. In fact, I'm going to see it again. I'll probably see it again in the theater. There's no doubt in my mind. This is probably the most, when you talk about franchises, this franchise it's one of the franchises that came out of left field.
Yeah.
Like John Wick it didn't have a big budget, the first one. It came out and just surprised everybody. And like you said, it keeps running from there. I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on the second one because I thought if they would have switched to Common and Ruby Rose roles in the second one, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more.
Sure.
But it is what it is. But man, this one, like we said off the top, man, it did not feel like a 3-hour movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like the tempo was great.
Yeah.
Great action. I love the Donnie Yen character. He's probably my favorite character in the new addition to this movie.
So good.
Because outside of Bill Skarsgård, you feel empathy for all these characters. Like Chris said, like you feel for these characters. You don't hate any character outside of Bill Skarsgård.
Right.
Which it took me a while to come around to him in this movie. I didn't really like him when I was first analyzing this movie.
Okay.
But he had like a cold, calculating way about him that I kind of respected as when I rethink about this movie. So, and Mr. Nobody, I had a hard time wrapping my brain around that one too. Like, I'm not familiar with that actor. I know you said he was in 3 failed Netflix movies.
Yeah, that you probably saw it too. I think Chris and I were talking about that off air, where he even thought you may have liked certain ones, but he was in. Okay. Off the top of my head, I know he was in Awake, which was that sci-fi movie with I think it's Gina Rodriguez, where everybody can't go to sleep and it becomes like this national crisis kind of sci-fi thing. And then he was in Bruised with Halle Berry. He was in that one. Okay. And he was also in a third one that I can't remember at this time. So
I forget what you said, so
I know I can't
even back you up on that.
Yeah. But he's always been good.
And I liked him in this role. He was probably the hardest character I had to place in this movie because I just felt like he was a spectator at the end of it. Like he didn't really play a big, huge part. And I liked his dog, but I don't know. But the Donnie Yen character for me as Kane really sold it, man. Like he is phenomenal. Like I love that guy. So geez, I cannot wait to see this again. I might see this 2 more times in the theater, man. Like for real. Like I'm going out there Friday. I might go out there another day. I'm all over this movie. When you think about franchises, and you alluded to this earlier, pick a 4th film in a franchise and you call it the best. Like that's hard to freaking do.
Or
that's
even,
hard to pull off.
Or even good at number 4. Tell me what. It's hard to pick. I'm not a big fan of horror usually gets more into that deep franchise thing, right? Very rarely. I mean, because what's the 4th Die Hard? Live Free or Die Hard? That's not anywhere close to what we got in the original 3. And
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I forgot that even got to 4. 4's a little fun, but it's not, again, recapturing what it was. And again, came much later, I think, too, after 3.
Yeah.
So this one to have, in succession, there was a decent gap between 3 and 4. But I think they almost just used it to their advantage. I think they really combed over this. I heard the original cut was 4 hours, and they debated whether they wanted to take it as 4 and 5 back to back, which I
want to see it.
I do, but I kept saying I had this conversation with some other people, including my brother off mic, and I was just like, where do you stop the story though that isn't where this is? And be like, they would have had to literally release John Wick 4 and done what was it, Matrix 2 and 3? They were separated by 6 months or something, or some short amount of time. It would have had to been like that, because if you ended this movie, I don't know what a comfortable halfway point in this movie is, but I would probably say it's before he ends up in Paris, maybe. Maybe it ends with the dance club scene. and he joins Bask with the Roma Ruskies or whatever. Like, if it ends there, are you like, oh, this movie's excellent? No, you'd be like, oh, I can't wait for the next one. But you're not like, oh man, this is the best of the franchise. The way they did, I think they made the absolute right decision to cut it down to where they were and keep it as just one solid movie. But I agree with a lot of what you said there, Shane. Like, oh my God, I took notes almost just so I can, remember certain things. Like my type of notes, Shane, you might appreciate this. My first note, nunchucks with an exclamation point. That was my first note that I took with this movie. Otherwise, I was letting it wash over me, and I was like, should I even take notes? But now I'm glad I did, because I was keeping track of certain scenes that I like. Later, I want to ask you guys, and maybe Shane, you want to start noodling it now. The set pieces, the end of between Osaka Continental, Berlin nightclub, Paris before sunrise at the Arc de Triomphe, Paris in the abandoned mansion, Paris up the steps. Like, each individual one of those, I almost want to power rank them in a way. I want to see what everybody, because that's a hard favorite. It's a really hard favorite. So I'm curious to know where you guys go with that here. Chris, how did you feel about the movie, buddy?
We've just been talking glowingly about this. I mean, we haven't even, touched upon story and whatnot, but I got to say, take story out of it.
Yeah.
It is a visual delight.
Yeah.
I think one of my things that I picked on this time was, I told you, Andrew, is that, when they're firing arrows all over the place and one guy gets it in the leg and stuck to the wall.
Yeah.
John kills him and he's just dangling by his leg.
Yeah.
I was like, that is so awesome. That's attention to detail that most action films just gloss over. They get to the next scene, get next kill.
Yeah.
But that was just this is what makes it stand above all others.
Yeah.
Is the attention to detail, the fact that they're not just firing guns for firing guns. They, reload. They, get jammed. It's just, it's kind of weird saying this. It's realistic.
Yeah.
But it's so over the top. To me, this time, I don't know if the other three, because I really do have to do a rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
If the other three felt this way to me as the fourth one, but the fourth one felt like a live action anime.
I've seen some people say that. It does get a little loosey-goosey, cartoonish at times, but I think this movie, it amped up the humor in this movie, which is interesting. It's an interesting switch. It's so I think this has the most kind of loose action with it, where the way you're doing it, almost like Kung Fu Hustle. But not cartoon, not that speed up, slow down stuff, in real time version of doing that. So, like Shane said, and we'll get into detail. And I said this to you off mic too. They gotta stop throwing this guy off buildings and smashing shit on the way down. That's the only time where I go, okay, all right, no, I can't sign off on that. I can't do that. But give me everything else. Give me all the gun fu you got. Let's just keep going. But yeah, I agree that the attention to detail is incredible.
I'm not saying that anime is a bad thing. I'm saying it just reminds me of the characters. You basically have the blind swordsman. You have all these henchmen descending on our protagonist in grand fashion, where you're just how is he going to get out of this?
Yeah,
he just somehow does.
Yeah.
And
it's they saw the fight scene amazing. In Kill Bill where they, Volume 1 killing all of the 88 and then just making it the franchise.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. That's great, and without the interesting part about this too is that there's articles going around with how shockingly little dialogue Keanu Reeves has in this movie. And I was like, yeah, because they finally got what this is. We don't need it. And for the little impact for the little amount of words that he has, the impact's huge. Like his gravestone, the whole thing, like every little thing is very purposeful, or the brevity is so needed to kind of show how he is with other people that it makes it hilarious. At times.
Did they not see the previous 3?
I know.
Because
I know.
he probably has like a pamphlet size of dialogue that he said throughout all 4.
Yeah.
It's really not that grand, and he's a man of few words, and he's all about action.
Yeah.
So stop complaining.
Yeah. Well, the 3 of us are all about action, and it tells you a lot when we're sitting here glowing, again, as a number 4 in the franchise, about the franchise as a whole. And if you're talking about minimal dialogue, villains that maybe don't work, and yet you're still like, God damn it, I could just rewatch the hell out of these things over and over. Yeah. It's astounding. And this one, again, for the runtime, it's the most rewatchable one they have. When the movie ended, and I stayed until the end credit scene, I literally said, I wanted them to fire it up again. I would have just stayed in my seat, and I would have just watched it all again until I fell asleep. And good luck trying to fall asleep in a movie like this, of course, even if it's like 2 a.m. It was like 11:30 when it stopped, and I was like, yeah, let's do it again and again. Like I'm that Wu-Tang skit. So, any other things, Chris, before we kind of move forward?
No, that's I love this movie.
Yeah. Some of the biggest standout, I'm curious to know your vision on this there, Shane, as well. The cinematography was the one thing that I wrote down more above everything else. I mean, there's a million things to love about it, but this stood out for me, which was wild because it's the same cinematographer, Dan Lauston, that was, I think, part 2 and 3. I don't think he did the first one, but he did 2, 3, and now 4. And this movie is beautiful. Like they kind of, the previous stuff, they did a lot with neons where it felt not lazy, but kind of like, I've seen this kind of like, in sci-fi movies, or if they go into Japan or other Asian countries, they do a lot of that like ultra neon blown out kind of, lighting. This one was just like artsy. It was like you got, especially doing all the stuff in Osaka, that continental stuff was gorgeous, between the museum staging, or whatever you want to call it, that room where it has all the glass or whatever. And, they really do a much better job, better than that fight scene towards the end of part 3, which had a lot of glass, with that guy who was basically like, it's a pleasure to fight you, and then just fucking keels over and dies, that guy. Which, by the way, is like the precursor to Mr. Nobody, because Mr. Nobody has a lot of fascination and desire to be John Wick in a lot of ways, where he has the dog, he keeps in the shadows, he's very skilled. It has a lot of commonalities with John Wick as a character, and I think that's part of the thing of where they see eye to eye towards the end of the movie, and it kind of goes with that because they've been playing with that the whole movie. But yeah, the cinematography with those like the blossom trees like that in Asia, like all the pinks and the hues and everything else. The Berlin Fight Club, or excuse me, I should call it the Fight Club, the Berlin Dance Club, where like, by the way, so many people just clearly ignoring what's happening, which is so Russian. That's amazing. It's just like, oh yeah, it's just these people, which we've seen in like, I think like the Batman or like some of these other movies where it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go through like a crowd of people and just fucking punch and kill a bunch of people around you, and they're like, yeah, let's keep dancing, yeah, and just like keeps going. This one was like on 11 with that. It was almost like that scene in the second Matrix movie where they have like, I was
thinking that.
Yeah, where just everybody keeps dancing while the world's burning. But like this one, there was like full on murders constantly happening around them, and they're just like, yeah, that's that new dance move, the kick punch, shove a guy over a railing thing, shoot him in the face dance that everybody was talking about on TikTok. But yeah, that scene's
you can only
insane.
Do it once.
I know, yeah. But so many likes. But the all the like the showering down the water and all that stuff, like, God, so good. And basically they went WWE with how he fought the Russian guy in the middle there. And God, so every single time it was just massively beautiful cinematography mixed with a lot of stuff that it felt new and refreshing in the series, while also just showing how skilled everyone is in the fight choreography. It's just unbelievable. So, but I do have to agree, like, reiterate, much like in the Berlin Club thing, stop throwing him off great heights and it landing hard as hell on something and expecting me to go, yeah, cool, and then do it later in the like. They're just like, now he's Bugs Bunny. It's an insane thing with that. But yeah, even stuff like the soundtrack was better in this one. Like, they actually amped up and purchased songs. They added the spy only DJ. I don't know how you get that job, but I really want that, just to be like, all right, here's this track. If you want some background noise while you're murdering someone, here you go. Yeah. Here's Paint It Black in the French. All right, here we go. So I love that them playing Nowhere to Run and all these other things. Yeah, it's just such an impressive movie that for where it started, where it's just like, okay, he's almost like presumed dead, and then just rises like a phoenix, goes into the desert, take no prisoners, and then just keep it going. And every time they entered a new character that we haven't met yet, I was like, I love this guy. I want him here forever. And then when he dies, I feel really bad. So It's incredible. So do we want to talk about those kind of like set pieces? Do you guys have a favorite in terms of all of those? I could kick it off if you don't and need a little time, because weirdly, to me, it's Osaka, because I love the introduction of all those guys, all their skill set, Donnie Yen, and just the him, especially being the blind swordsman, blind, assassin, however you want to put it, with him with the the doorbell sort of thing, setting up to hear where people are crossing and then shooting them up and killing them, was outrageously just so good. And then Sonata, I mean, like, between him and the relationship with his daughter and the protection of his place, he's like Winston 2.0 after we already have Winston in our lives and continue to have Winston in our lives. So he just did so well. And I think so many things mattered. There was a lot of stakes in this movie, and it started off right there, and I was like, I don't know how they could top this. And I think they came close, but I think like that the most.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. That was my favorite. The whole Continental Osaka scene with the introduction of those two characters was just hands down my favorite of the movie.
Yeah.
Close second, I did like the Paris step scene towards the end.
Yeah.
That whole duel.
Sure.
I did like that. That's the runner up, but no, it's the Continental, man. Like that whole, like you said, introducing those characters. There's high stakes there. I cared about those characters. Like, I cared about that character.
Yeah.
It didn't get any better. That was like it's hard to say what's the peak, but that was the peak to me.
I think
was that whole scene right there.
Yeah.
And like you said, I forgot about the Donnie Yen, like trying to find out where people are coming from. Like, how we did all that. I totally forgot about that, but that was fucking cool.
Yeah, and not to mention, as previously stated by me, fucking nunchucks was so cool. Every bit of that. Like, I was in the theater, Shane and Chris. Like, I already told you off mic. I was in there, like, by myself, didn't go with anyone else. I'm amongst strangers, and yet during the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'm just like screaming, and I can't remember the last movie that I did that with. Even with friends that I've seen the movie, and I saw Top Gun Maverick with Chris, and I still haven't had that. He was burst
silent
out moment.
Like a priest.
Yeah, and like, God, this movie multiple times I burst out like, oh shit, like so many times. Man, how have we waited so long in this franchise to have sumo wrestlers in my life? Like, to have sumo guards. Yes, bring it into my life. Bring it into the fold, please. Loved it. Chris, where do you sit on that, man?
With the sumo guys, they were almost like two doors that you had to pass through. They when they stood next to each other, I was just like, how do you get through that? How do you get through that?
Yeah.
But I really, there are so many set pieces to choose from.
Yeah.
But I definitely love the Arc de Triomphe, because that is just like him really doing the car stuff.
Yeah.
Him picking up that gun off the ground, and like that is real. That's not like, he's up on strings, he's got, a green screen. No, he's driving that car with no doors, picking up his gun. People just getting ping-ponged by,
it's Frogger.
Cars.
It's real life Frogger.
Cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just amazing. And I really wanted that to never end.
Sure.
I was just like, oh my God, who else is going to step in? Like, listen, I think we've established throughout this podcast that I'm a coward, and, I'm not going to pursue someone, after they like hit me. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Forget this.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, they get hit and they go back into it. I'm just like, just stay down.
The amount of cocaine that has to be in that movie, like to just be like, yeah, no, I'm good. Keep hitting me. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, to have that adrenaline, I don't know.
I got hit by a van, but I don't care. I'm just going to keep on walking.
Yeah, you might want like doing
Jesus
bumps
Christ.
off his fingers as he's going along. Yeah.
But that was so wild. And again, like, I've never seen that before. Like, yeah, sure, you've seen once or twice someone get bumped by a vehicle and bumped out of the way.
Yeah.
And they're presumed dead.
Sure.
But man, it was just like nonstop. And there's like people coming out of the woodwork working for their 20 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
At that point, I don't even know if it made it past that, but the price just keeps on going up and everyone's getting that money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I understand that though, like the sheer madness. And honestly, if I was to say what scene was probably the hardest to shoot, it's the Arc de Triomphe thing. And that is an editor's, like, not only nightmare, but once you get through it, if you could pull it off, that's like your reel for life. Like, that is, look at what I was able to pull off and make this seemingly, again, you're literally going in circles for so long, and every part was so just slowed down and well-timed, and just the precision you need. And that's
your reel.
I know. That's why this is where I will just, where my two minds meet, my Oscar, bougie bullshit mind, and my love of genre, like, and especially certain ones, the melding of that. I will be mad if John Wick 4 is not nominated at the Oscars in either editing, cinematography, or some level of something else, because holy hell, this movie just covered all the bases, and I don't care that it's this type of movie, air quotes, or like a genre fair, whatever. We just came off, Everything Everywhere All at Once, winning like, what, 5, 6, whatever, 7 Oscar, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's bring all this into the fold. It is a beautifully crafted movie.
I mean, Top Gun can come in.
Sure, and Avatar and all that shit. Come on, this is more impressive to me. And
I agree, but I do think that it's going to take a hit because of the genre that it's in. They're going to be like, oh, John Wick. And it's so easy to dismiss a movie like this. You know what I mean? Like, some of my clients are like, oh, John Wick. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I think it's going to get dismissed a little bit. But like you said, it should be nominated for something. Like you said, Chris, if Top Gun could get nominated.
Yeah.
This, I'm sorry. And I love Tom Cruise, but this was better than Top Gun. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And to your point, now that I've thought about it a little bit, Shane, do you have a part 4 that's even close in mind? Like Rocky 4 is the only thing I could come up with that I'm like, yeah, that was at least an entertaining movie.
It was entertaining, but
that was
on this, on this level, no. Lethal Weapon 4 was, I think, is underrated.
That's the Joe Pesci
to be honest
one,
with
right?
you. That's the introduce Jet Li to everybody, pretty much. Yeah. That was a little underrated, but it's not on this level. I can't think of a film, a fourth in a franchise, that operates on this high of a level than John Wick 4.
Yeah, and as far as the action goes and everything else, I mean, the only other movies that I've seen in my lifetime, when I like close my eyes and I think best fight scenes, best things like that. Like it's, it's hard boiled. It's early Chow Yun-fat and early John Woo movies. And then I think of, your raids and kind of some of the copies of the raid, like Night Comes for Us and things like that. Is there anything else that like comes to mind where you're like, can even hold a candle to what we're witnessing right now?
What I'm thinking of is Daniel Craig as Bond. Didn't he do 4 movies in a row or whatever? Would that count as a comparison?
I mean,
Casino
they're very
Royale,
different movies, but I'm thinking as far as like the quality of action. But yeah, sure.
I mean, there's action set pieces in that, but it's not prominent.
Right.
Sorry,
and you mentioned this earlier, Andrew, but the last act of Kill Bill 1 to me was, that operates at a high level.
Yeah.
And I think this is right on par with the crazy and nuttiness of that whole last act.
Right. And that's why we love the raid, too, because you have that one building that we're just going up from level to level to level, and you're doing that close quarter fighting stuff that we've come to love, that people, like I said, The Night Comes for Us comes to mind as people that came after the early seasons of Daredevil, where they would copy some of that fighting style and things like that. Those type of things are what get me out of bed as far as like action stuff goes. And then this is as far as like hand-to-hand combat and gunfare, that gung fu, as we've kind of, come to think. Chris, remind me, because you had that as your fun Friday trivia stuff.
Yeah.
You said it originated with the John Woo, that somebody named it after. Did he have the moniker himself? Did he say it?
I think it was named for him.
Okay.
But he was the one who kind of married the two.
Yeah.
Of martial arts and gunplay.
Yeah.
And that was all the way back to 86.
Yeah. Because I think Hard Boiled is like 89 or something like that. It's still like late 80s. So, yeah, that stretch when he's doing, just some of the best fight. Like I said, the influences of like that period of Asian action movies is apparent with this, where it's the killer, it's, it's Hard Boiled, it's all that. So, and that's the type of stuff I love. And are you guys fans of that too? Have you guys got deep into old John Woo and all that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I released the white doves.
Exactly. Which, of course, they had. I think it's in this movie, right? I don't know. I just binge watched like
when they're at the table
they had
the duel.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if those were doves, but they clearly had just like
Yeah.
whitish birds that were just flailing around in the background. That was like, you know what's up.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the villain stuff, because Shane was saying he had some issue with Skarsgård, maybe at first blush, or and maybe it's lived better in your mind since, I don't know. But one, I dug the accent. The accent didn't kill me, so that's step one, I guess, with this. I just like that we had a central figure that still had to be like involved throughout, because like I said, what I liked about part 2 is that the guy, the Italian guy with his sister and that whole thing, like the marker and the whole like that, I thought really tied the movie together better than part 1 a little bit, and that's why I thought they stepped up a little bit from 1 to 2. Even though I love part 1, that's not a knock at all. But in this movie, I think it learned its lesson with that, where it's like early and often, and have this guy supremely involved, having him calling the shots, having him work with the duel thing and setting that up not too far off into the movie, because I don't know, that's probably a little after halfway when they come up with the duel thing, right? So he's more heavily involved than any other villain, and he's well established with that scene with Winston early on in the around New York, in the old around the neighborhood of the old Continental, and I was just so impressed with how they utilized him that I thought his performance is well enough. As opposed to, like, it's funny you brought up Bond, Chris. Like, how would you compare maybe him to, like, say, Rami Malek in No Time to Die, where it's like, I thought that was a little bit more shoehorned. The accent isn't perfect. Like, even though I really like that movie, I think you don't go for that movie because of Rami Malek. This movie, I think Skarsgård is a better quality villain in here that at least lays the groundwork for the movie to work all the way through its runtime.
Oh yeah, like I think it definitely works better this time because he has a goal, and by hook or by crook, he's gonna get what he wants.
Yeah.
His motivations seemed a little like self-serving and like childish.
Yeah,
But,
because he wants to be known. He wants his legacy stuff to go on.
Yeah, and he's like screw that guy that everyone loves. He broke the rules, and rules must be upheld. I'm just like, don't be a dick. It's John Wick, man.
Right. Yeah.
Just let him live.
Right.
He's been through a lot. Just move on with your life.
Yeah.
But no, he can't. And his hubris will be his downfall. But yeah, like he basically came in. I'm just like, who is this guy?
Right.
To just like I'm the marquis, and what I say goes, and he's killing people left and right, like seemingly because he can.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the hell? Who's gonna stop him? And who's gonna say like yeah, let's get that John Wick.
Yeah.
No one's gonna speak up for themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I gotta say, his villainy was top notch. I did not like him for that reason.
Yeah. You want him to
Good
die.
job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would think, as opposed to like the old movies, we've always had that the carrot of the high table kind of dangled in front of us throughout the series. In part 2, you have a guy who's on the outside looking in, trying to get on the table. And then you have his sister who just got minted into the table. And then part 3, you have that woman who represents the high table and has an authority to kind of try to move the pieces around and take things away and do all that. This one feels like he's the closest thing to being like the head of the table that we can utilize to really cement where we are in this franchise. Because I think, again, of the faults of part 3, where they kind of botched the elder thing, where I thought the elder was going to have some larger piece or some clarity or some larger role, and that kind of was weak, I thought.
Right.
So Shane, you were saying about Bill Skarsgård as well, like, where do you think he fits in? Do you at least like the theory of what he was, let alone the performance?
You've actually swayed me a little bit, Andrew.
Yeah.
You really did.
Yeah.
I just didn't think he was menacing enough. I didn't at first I didn't buy him as the ultimate villain guy. You know what I mean? He didn't fit the type in my eyes. But you're right. The presence that he had throughout the movie, and I actually did like the accent. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I think he pulled that accent off.
Yeah.
But I think he was needed. And now that I think about it, plus what you said, I'm kind of coming around to him a little bit more. I didn't really get him at first. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I like my villains to be just that menacing, like, oh shit, we got to take a step back. And he never presented that to me, but
Right.
I do like the role he played in this movie.
For sure. Before we get out of here, I want to do 2 things. One, I think I already put it out there where I put my power rank of the 4 movies. For me, it's this movie, 2, 1, 3. Shane, Shane, we'll start with you. Where do you power rank the 4 films?
I go 4, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, which I think is a lot of people. I know I'm an outlier with that. Chris, are you the same?
4, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. 1, 4, 2, 3.
Oh,
okay.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I do love the first one for its simplicity and just introducing us to this world.
Sure. Yeah, and why not? So now I guess we'll get into our own personal scores. And I told Chris this off air. And I want to see, I'm glad we're doing this with
anything.
video, face to face of sorts, because I want to tell Shane, look into my eyes, buddy. This is the first 5-star movie I've said on this podcast. And this is the first 5-star I've given in 4 years.
Outstanding, sir.
Yeah, maybe 3. I forget whether I gave Riders of Justice 5 stars, but definitely it's easily the best movie I've seen in years.
I agree. You want me to stand up now? I can stand up.
yeah, that probably, like, now I'm afraid for you.
Does that count as a 1?
Now we might have to call the hospital and put it on standby. Check your blood pressure, all that stuff, because I don't know how we're going to ride that long. But, so Shane, just rip it off, buddy. Are you with me?
Come on now. It's a 5. It's a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't score this anything less. It's the best movie I've seen this year. It's the best movie I've probably seen in several years, and it's a 5. Like, it's just no doubt about it. We're on the same page, buddy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I was thinking. My brother. He's he's a very harsh critic. We talk about movies all the time, and when he was just like, "Yeah, man, don't let me know," he's like, "I loved it." So I'm like, "Oh man, this is gonna be incredible," and it lived up to every bit of it. So Chris, as not your favorite of the franchise, I'm interested to see how much this one may have dropped.
I am afraid of the peer pressure that you two are just like.
That's why I did it this way.
On
yes.
me right now. But I got to stick with my guns. It's not a perfect movie.
How fucking
how dare you?
But I got to say it's my favorite in God knows how long. I can't tell you the last time. Last year around this time, Everything Everywhere All at Once maintained my number one movie. Well, I'm just going to say it. So I say it's a 4.
Okay.
4 out of 5.
Okay.
Which is high for me compared to the way I've been scoring things lately. It's like 2.5 and 3s.
Right. So do you consider the first
4
one
is high bar?
Like what, 4.5, 5? Obviously, it would have to be
4.5, 5 for the first one.
Yeah.
Again, it was a simple story, revenge story. I got it. Even going back to when I do my Fun Friday trivias, I look up trivia of movies that will coincide with what's coming out,
right?
Anniversaries, whatever. And since John Wick was coming out, I was just like, let me look at the first one. And I'm going through the list of tidbits for it, and each one I'm just like, that is so clever.
Right.
That is so clever.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot that part.
Right.
I'm like, oh wow, and I'm just like in awe still from that.
Right.
And then just for the hell of it, I was just like, I don't know who wrote this, but let me check it out. And I checked the the writer for it was a guy who really doesn't have much else to brag about.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just like, this is his standout character and his role and whatnot. So I'm like, this is like a unicorn. There, a guy with not a great filmography, makes this one standout film and has expanded it beyond 1 to 4.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, the first one was so good. And I've always been, and I think me and Shane are on the same level with this. We've always been fans of Keanu.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not root for that guy? I mean,
but that's the thing. It's like a lot of people
his real
like,
life story is heartbreaking on top of everything else, and being some of the like classic movies of our lives. Yeah, it's hard not to root for that guy.
And like, he will forgo a paycheck and pay for other people. Like, he's that much of a humanitarian,
of course.
And he's in Hollywood, where those are like rare in itself.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not naive enough to say like he is the greatest actor of our time.
No,
he's not a great actor.
Yeah.
He's there's some films where he suffers.
Yeah.
When they let him act.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's just like, good for him.
Right.
I'm glad he got that role.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for Bill and Ted, number 3. Just
yeah.
You root for him because of his outside antics or his lifestyle.
Sure.
He's still wearing the beat up shoes from 1985.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's humble. He's great with others.
Yeah.
He's humble. It's just, you can't say enough good things about him.
Absolutely.
He's just an overall great guy.
Yeah. All right. So now that we've kind of got to the end, for the true people, if you are still this silly idiot that has lasted this long, I'd be remiss if we didn't just at the very end here go, is John Wick 5 going to happen, and do you want it? I could almost speak for Shane, but like, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I'll take as many of these movies as they're going to dole out. So, yes. Would I be satisfied if this was the end? Of course. But do I want another? Yes, please. Like, let's give it one more knuckle up there. Let's go. Another knuckle. I'll take it. I'll take it. No, but seriously, guy, I'll take a fifth one. If it's going to be as good as this one, if they have I know I laugh when I say this, but story behind it, because this one was actually a pretty good story-wise with character development, I'll take a fifth one. I mean, why not?
I think the extra credit scene sets up what would be an interesting story for it.
Right.
And I hope they don't make that into they've tipped up like, oh, we're going to do a John Wick TV series for Starz or Amazon or somebody, and God, I don't want that. And then if the franchise goes forward and doesn't have actual John Wick in it, I think that's a mistake too. I don't need the Bourne Legacy kind of thing or whatever stuff, whatever that movie with
Jeremy Renner.
Snowmobile guy.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Rough.
Oh,
man. Hey,
Still soon?
positive news on that. I heard he is walking and things like that. Awesome to hear about Jeremy Renner's success. But Chris, you in for part 5? What are your thoughts? Are you like, if they went forward without him because he is presumed dead, is that a no-go for you?
Okay, this is multifaceted. I think in the news today, they said they're still going forward with a 5.
Right.
What that means, we don't know.
Right.
But I'm for it. Like, I wasn't sure I was for a 4, but here we are, just like, filleting it,
Yeah. Whatever,
but-
Mr. 4-star, go home. No, just kidding.
Hey, still above a 3.
I know, in this year,
So-
that's his high mark. Yeah.
Right? That might as well be a 5. Let's just say 5's all around. But if it's with him, great, because I think he can do it at 60.
Right.
This is the other thing I wanted to mention, right? Keanu is currently 58.
Uh-huh.
Donnie Yen is a year older.
Yeah.
Shut up. Really?
Tom Cruise is 61.
Right.
I can't get out of bed without clicking or cracking,
Yep.
and I get winded on slight inclines.
Yes. Yeah.
It's impossible for these people to exist, yet they do.
I know.
So if Tom Cruise can jump off buildings at 61,
Yeah, jump out of
Keanu
airplanes
can
and
make
shit.
another
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Yeah, with how good their editor is, they could do whatever the hell they want.
Well, I was going to say, like, I wish they had this editor for The Irishman.
Yeah.
Just like, all right, can you make the stomping look a little youthful?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like, I can't believe it. All right, given, De Niro was like, late 70s for that role,
All right.
but still.
So what if they did Irishman 2, but they had the stunt coordinators from John Wick do it and just really went all out?
Oh,
You in for
God.
that?
No,
Okay.
that's 3 hours I can't sit through again. Jesus.
Hey.
You bring up a good point, though, because with Keanu Reeves moving forward, I'm all in for a 5. If it doesn't involve Keanu Reeves, it's a harder sell for me, though
Right.
I'll probably see it anyway because it's my kind of genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would be interested to see where they go without Keanu Reeves involved in this franchise. It was impressive, and you pulled up the numbers at the top for a non-comic book
Yeah.
entity or a movie for it to make 131 million. Is that what you said? Is
137, yeah.
It's just outstanding.
Yeah.
And just like, it doesn't need to be Marvel or DC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Like Creed, what was it? Creed and now Wick are like tops of the year so far, box office wise.
Yeah, I think, what was it,
Think so,
60 mil for Creed 3, I think was the, again, Ant-Man probably did around the same, but really fell off fast. I don't know where the numbers
Right.
sit with that. But, so yeah, for non-comic book stuff to be right neck and neck with where Marvel sat, that's impressive.
Yeah. And I think this has staying power because I think word of mouth is going to get out. Like you said, it's rewatchable as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm there.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm curious to see where it lands on the second weekend out. I don't think you'll see a massive dip. Not only that, because there's really nothing it's competing against this week.
Yeah. Also understand that Creed 3 and Ant-Man, if that's the competition for box office success, those movies were at, or like, I think Creed 3 was maybe a tinge over 2 hours, and Ant-Man was like around 2 hours, or even maybe slightly under, if I remember.
Right.
All around that. This movie, for being so long, actually hurts its box office because it can't have as many showings a day, and yet still eclipsed either both of them or at least Creed 3, which is super impressive. So,
Right.
So I'm in for part 5 too. I'm curious to know what we're supposed to take out of the Akira part of this, whether she is now going to be like, an anti-hero bad guy kind of thing for part 5, and that's where we're going to take it now that the high table's kind of out of the way. It becomes a personal story. I don't know if she's supposed to be killing Donnie Yen or whether Donnie Yen will survive and then they both go after her, or however that is staged. But I need Keanu or I'm out. And I don't want a series, no matter, because I don't want them to split apart their time to be like, do fight choreography for TV and then have the movie suffer or delayed. I want it right now. I want to see where this shit is. I want to see whether he survived. I want all these, unanswered questions to be answered. So immediately I need something. And I almost don't want to see a trailer.
I think Chad had said he was up in the air on doing the 5th one.
Yeah.
Plus other projects. I think he'll probably have like a producer credit for 5.
Yeah, see, those are usually when those suffer.
Right. But I think he has a good enough crew that he can trust them to do just as good in his absence.
Yeah, and let's hope that the writing teams all stay in place. For how much I was very skeptical about Shea Hatton, mostly because I was introduced to him by being attached to Snyder, and he was, did the script for Army of the Dead and a lot of those things. So I was like, all right, Shea Hatton, you're not super impressive. This movie, they killed it, so I don't know how to feel about him now, and especially if he goes on to do other big things, because he seems to be involved in a lot of the big franchises. So I don't know. I might have to turn around on the writing skills of Shea Hatton. Him and Michael Finch killed this one. So if everybody stays and then Stahelski needs to move on, okay, I wouldn't love it though. I think Keanu, I don't know if Keanu stays if he leaves. So all of that is probably in negotiation. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But any other final words, guys, before we wrap this up?
I will say this. If Charlie Cox cannot play Daredevil, Donnie Yen, please step up.
Yeah, sure. I think Shane will cry, but yeah, I'm not out on that.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Maybe put him in that franchise. That would be dope.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Ooh, the new stick, the MCU's stick.
Sure. Why not?
Sorry, Scott Glenn.
Yeah.
You're out.
Anything from you, Shane? Any final thoughts?
No, I think we summed it up. I mean, this movie was everything I was wanting it to be. It was everything it just did. It exceeded all my expectations, which is hard to do for a John Wick movie.
Yeah.
So erect is the word I have to come to mind.
Yeah.
Fully erect.
Sit down.
All right, let's end this X-rated podcast right now before it gets any worse. And hopefully you guys will give us the 5 stars, give us the 4 Viagras, whatever our metric is right now at this point in the podcast, and come back next week. Catch us all on the flip side for more recent activity.